3 and Out here, Adam Deal, along with Charles Ashley. Happy President's Day for you. We just went over some of the recap big games. I thought the biggest one that we really didn't spend a lot of time on was Rio Grande's win over Atrisco Heritage.
Absolutely.
They had one in district. We said they had to get at least one win for us to consider them into this tournament. Well, they've got it, Charles. What do you think?
They got it, albeit okay. So now, are they going to get credit for the win? Because according to Max Press, which we're going to release, they're still on the outside looking in. But I still think the district was pretty strong this year. If they got one win, that was good. If they can upset Albuquerque High or Valley this week, they're for sure in. So they still have a chance to really solidify their spot in this state tournament.
Okay, before we get into this bracketology, one more score from this weekend that was huge. The Rio Rancho Rams come from behind win against the Cibola Cougars. Now, we broke that news about Christian Cunningham, obviously.
They did. Big time comeback.
KOB, to credit, broke that
Yes.
first. That's where we get that source from, just so everybody knows. But Rio Rancho comes back, Brady Patterson, another monster game, and the Rams get it done. They were trailing this one. I believe I heard the score was 27-12 at one point.
27-12 at one point. I think it got up to like 32-17. So it was not looking good for the Rams. So for them to come back, get that win, that's a testament to their style of play also, because you can be struggling in the beginning, but if they get some turnovers going their way, if Patterson hurt, other Patterson start knocking down shot, Garrison rebound, well, then they can put some pressure on you, and that's what it seems like they did with Cibola. They put the pressure on Cibola.
Well, let's move forward then, talking 3 and Out here, and it's time to get to our bracketology on uSports Central. Charles spent a lot of time going over this and some tweaks this morning from what I tweeted out actually on Saturday, which grabbed the attention of a couple of coaches out there.
I know, man. Look at you.
Las Cruces.
You're up there upsetting the coaches.
Well, let's show what we've got, and we'll tell you why. Las Cruces right now we have projected as a 9 seed, Charles, and I'm going to tell you why in just a minute, but let's just go over all the potential matchups here. Hobbs.
Ooh, Mayfield?
Mayfield is a 16 seed. The 8-9 matchup, Sandia, Las Cruces, obviously the lower seeds host. Albuquerque High is a 5, Cibola 12, Valley 4, Gadsden 13. You've got Carlsbad as a 3, Oñate 14, Volcano Vista 6, Atrisco 11, Rio Rancho 7, West Mesa 10, Cleveland 2, Rio Grande 15. Now, let me explain this. As you look at the bracket and then you see what's going on, I did one projection game, and that's because it matters more than everything, and that's Cleveland or Rio Rancho. So saying that Cleveland wins, they'll get the 2 seed, I think, depending on what Hobbs obviously does with Carlsbad. Because it's so dramatic, though. If Rio Rancho wins, they can go from a 7 to a 2, but if Rio Rancho wins, they'll tie for second and fall behind Volcano Vista because Volcano Vista beat them twice.
Yeah.
So then they'll be seeded 3, and meaning they have to, in the tournament, by the NMAA committee rules, be seeded below Volcano Vista. So that's why it's such a mess, that one.
You and I were talking all pretty much basketball season that it was going to come down to this last week. We knew it. There's too many good teams this year, I think, where things were decided early. So that District 1, you have a Cleveland team that if they win, they can even make an argument for that 1 seed if they really want to, because both Hobbs and Cleveland's schedule not that strong, but I think Cleveland's district play propels them, but they're interchangeable. Carlsbad, they need to win to me because I think they don't have enough quality wins on their schedule. So if they can pull off that win against Hobbs for that first place seed, they're going to look good.
Ones, though, is, I mean, they do have a win against Valley here in the metro area, which is big, a blowout win against them, and then obviously Hobbs. So that's 2 top 4, top 5 wins, depending on how you look at it, which bodes well for Carlsbad. The interesting one, Charles, of course, everyone's talking about is Sandia at an 8, and then Las Cruces at a 9.
Yeah.
Well, Coach Benjamin says, well, listen, how could our district winner not get a home game win? Well, we looked over the schedule, and we wanted to double-check what we had there, and Sandia blows Las Cruces. Not blows them, beats them by 10, 12 points on the road at Las Cruces. So Sandia is going to be ahead of them because Sandia has better wins than Las Cruces. And you look at it, Las Cruces' best win is Espanola Valley, who's not a district winner in 5A, and then potentially La Cueva. That's their best win, who we have right now out of the tournament. So I don't know where you could argue. Even in their own district, their other best team in district, Gadsden, they got smoked by at home. So I just don't know how you could give Las Cruces a home game. The other one, Charles, that is interesting is if you look at Mayfield and you look at La Cueva, neither of them have good wins. La Cueva's biggest win is against Rio Grande and El Dorado, who is out of the tournament, by the way, right now. So those are the 2 biggest wins. I only have Mayfield as a 16 seed because head-to-head they beat La Cueva. I don't know how else to measure it. That's another change that we made on the bracketology.
Yeah, it's just
I don't know. It can go either way.
And it's hard and we're going to talk about those bubble teams. It's hard to really place them because usually one of those teams have a quality win which separates them from the other team. Right now, all the teams looking in that's trying to solidify that last spot have nothing on the resume which jumps out at you on paper. And speaking to Cruz's point, I agree. Cruz's record they have a good record this year, okay? The district is down, so they don't have any quality wins. It's hard for me to not give a district champ a home game, but then when you start doing the head-to-head and what everyone else is doing,
when you break it down,
you
don't have room for it.
It's really hard to make the argument to give them that home game because a Volcano team, even if they finish second in their district or third or whatever, their strength of schedule is up there. Let's talk even like Albuquerque High. Yeah, they lost to Valley twice, whatever, but when you break down their resume, they have an impressive resume. They've beaten 5 or 6 district champions. So, and with Rio Rancho, even Rio Rancho at 7 can have an argument because they played a great schedule. They've beaten some quality teams. Leaving one of those teams out and sending them on the road would be hard for me to swallow, but I can see Coach Benjamin's argument. He won his district. He wants to be rewarded.
Right, and that I agree with that.
Yeah.
But the way the seeding criteria is broken down, I don't think
tough.
they would get a home game real quickly.
Sandia losing so many games, though, is what hurts.
Right.
That's what hurts.
Before we move on to some of our bubble teams, Charles, just real quickly, Albuquerque High has to be seated behind Valley because they finished second, even though they're 18-4 on the season.
That's just the way.
We said it was going to be difficult. Let's move on here on 3 and out. And let's talk about some of those bubble teams that we just talked about. More in depth, though, Charles. The first one being Rio Grande. And the win against the Trisco Heritage, I think, keeps them in this dance. They've got a win against El Dorado, who is on the bubble. La Cueva, head-to-head, a split. And then the win against the Trisco is better than any other bubble team. That's why I have them in, because no other bubble team has a win quite as good as theirs against the Trisco Heritage. That's the difference. That's the difference between some of these teams. If La Cueva could keep winning and finish above El Dorado, I think they might get in. But Mayfield still has that head-to-head game over them, Charles. And then you look at El Dorado. If El Dorado does beat La Cueva and finishes above La Cueva in district play, I think El Dorado then has the best chance out of Mayfield and La Cueva to get into the dance.
Yeah, so you have Rio Grande sitting at 9-13 with that 1-5 record. So now, as you and I and a couple other people around the city have said the same thing. If they had managed to get 1 or 2 wins in that district, they saw them get in a tournament. So I think they're sitting on that bubble, but they're more comfortable. La Cueva, El Dorado, going into this week, they both know the same thing. We have to win this game because you have a La Cueva team, 9-13, as you see, 4-2, good district record. So if they can close out with a nice, 6-2 record, they're sitting pretty, they beat El Dorado, I think they get in because of
They've got El Dorado,
I think
and then they've got Sandia. Their opportunities are in front of them.
And I think Mayfield has better wins, to be honest, because that district, they
don't, though. You look at it, and they don't have better wins.
But didn't they beat Gadsden?
They didn't. They did, or they have 1 win against Gadsden and Deming. They'll play Deming again, and they'll get another district
But Gadsden,
win.
with Gadsden sitting there with that pretty good record, that's a good win for them.
Right, and so their win against Gadsden, and then their win against La Cueva is the difference.
Yeah.
That's what we think is the difference.
Okay, so then El Dorado.
La Cueva beat Sandia, they're in.
But what if El Dorado? Right? Yeah, I think if they win out, they're going to get in. But I think if El Dorado manages the upset, I think Mayfield takes as what you're saying, I think Mayfield takes everyone's spot, and they're sitting pretty. And I still think Santa Fe has a chance. If Santa Fe can get 1 win.
Isn't it ridiculous we're even talking about Santa Fe?
1 win, Santa Fe, 1.
Their last chance to do it is against Volcano Vista tomorrow
Just get
night
1.
at home. At home.
And going up to Santa Fe, it's not going to be easy. So anything can happen up there. I'm going to leave it at that.
I can't wait to ask Roy Sanchez tomorrow where he thinks he fits in this picture.
Roy.
I'll tell you what, mandatory against La Cueva. Yeah. Absolutely 100% mandatory.
It's a playoff game.
It is.
It's a playoff game, and I know Coach knows this. So.
Well, we'll see how it all shakes out. That is our bracketology. Coming up next, we're going to release the Max Preps top 16 rankings, and we'll see where all that plays in to this whole mess uSports.
It is a mess. Just a mess.